welcome to my show, The Middle Man. Viewers, we are talking about RRSP is tax deferred, not tax avoid. Now here it is coming.
Yeah.
When you are transferring your RRSP into RRIF,
Yeah,
right? Now, when you are transferring your fund in a RIF, now you are paying taxes. So what would be that tax?
Well, it's based on your income. So, for example, if you, and this is where people sometimes don't understand how much tax they may or may not have to pay in the future. So, if you have a relatively small income and you're getting the RRIF, you might pay 20% tax on that. And this is where you can have a huge tax liability. When one person dies and they have an RSP or RRIF, and they have a spouse, then their RSP can go to the spouse, tax deferred as well. But when the spouse dies, then all that money's taxable. And it's considered a lump sum withdrawal in the year you pass away. So even though yearly someone might not be taking that much out of RSPs, imagine taking $1 million out of the RRIF. That would be a big tax liability. So people can lose up to around half their money into the.
So, but why people has to take that $20,000 $1 million out from RRSP if they don't need it?
While they're living, they don't.
Yeah.
But the estate, the way the estate's taxed is, it's taxed.
And that will come the state planning.
That comes in the state, like you said, that's another show.
Yeah.
But people should realize that, and what you can do, good financial planning can identify that. So if you have a couple that plans to live to age 95, you can figure out if it's better to take a bit more out of the RRIF, even if you don't need the money, and invest it somewhere else, so that the long-term tax consequences are.
So the goal is here that defer your taxes, because right now at your 35, 40, 50, you are in higher tax bracket. So you are contributing in RRSP. So you are deferring the amount that you are contributing. You are deferring that amount at your age when you are in lower tax bracket, and when you take the money out, you are paying low tax. Am I correct?
That's the idea.
That's the idea. Okay, all right. So now we understand that when you are taking the money out from your RSP at the end, by putting into RRIF, you are paying low tax.
You're paying low tax, although you, as I was saying before, you may have a situation where down the road your estate would pay a significant amount of tax, and that's where you really have to go through your plan and put tax planning into your overall plan.
Okay, now as I retired, I put money into RRIF. Now I have a golden retirement. My wife is still not retired, and she has RSP. So what is the consequences here?
Well, you can actually base a spousal RSP on the spouse's age. So I sometimes see people where one spouse is significantly, let's just say in your situation may not be the case, but say you're 15 years older than your spouse, you can actually past age 71 contribute to a spousal RSP for her, and she can keep contributing based on until she is 71.
Well, here is one question that's just clicked my mind. Okay, I don't know if it is a question. There's no right or wrong, but anyway, the question is, if I have a life insurance, okay, and the insurance, there's a two-part maybe. There's one is the investment part in our life insurance. So when I retire at my age 70, I got a lump sum from my insurance, let's say $100,000, or right? So is that money will be taxable?
In almost all cases, no, unless you have a very, very heavily funded insurance with a lot of cash value. But life insurance, term insurance, almost always the insurance proceeds are non-taxable unless it's there's two main types of insurance, and you probably don't want to go in huge detail in this show, but
yeah.
The term insurance, which is usually temporary, cheaper for younger people with young families, that amount, you just pay your insurance premiums. That's non-taxable. Whole life for the most part is too, but you can have ones that have very large, that you put very large amounts in. Because what some people will do is they'll identify, we were talking about the RRIF and how much tax you're going to pay in the future. Well, if you have a situation where you know you're going to have an estate of 500,000 taxes that you'll pay when the surviving spouse passes away, well, if you could buy life insurance, which would pay for those taxes and pay, relatively speaking, pennies on the dollar, like a lot less than the payout of insurance, would that be worth considering? So we walk people through to see if something like that makes sense.
Okay, so the golden retirement now here, right? Now, as I started my vision, you asked me a question, actually, that how I want my retirement. I said couple of travel, all right, vacation, having a good time with my grandchildren, okay, having a peaceful house where there's no mortgage and stuff. So we are there now, right? Now I have the RRSP that mature, now I start into RRIF, and then I have a life insurance that mature, I got the money from there. So all those things that I landed with, it came with what? A intensive, good financial planning.
Yeah, with good financial planning, you can often do things that you can almost never do on your own, because it's just things that you don't tend to think of unless you look at the whole picture. You want to look at your goals, your family, estate, and all the what-if situations. And a good financial plan will do that. It will look at how to optimize investments, tax planning, and cater to you, because the most important thing is that you have the right thing based on your goals, your objectives right now.
Well, viewers, if you really want to have a golden good retirement life, have a good retirement planning, which is very important here in Canada. Now, beside this retirement, let me go back current situation. We are going through that COVID pandemic.
Yes.
Now, is that pandemic have any impact on this year's RRSP?
As far as the limits go, no, it doesn't. I mean, it's not having any kind of impact. Do you mean more from a standpoint of are people saving more, or is the government changing anything?
No, government hasn't changed anything, but what about the people, their income shrinked? Okay, we know a lot of people, their income shrinked, right?
Yeah.
So are they, you are in the business, you are a investment advisor. So you probably see people, so what do you see? That a lot of people, like last year, a lot of people this year, they're contributing in RRSP, or they are actually taking a little breath and taking a step back?
Well, I'm seeing a few things actually. It's like what they're saying, because in any given year, you have some people in businesses that go up quite a bit. You have some that kind of stay level, some that go down, and well, businesses, some go under or have very tough circumstances. Well, individuals aren't that much different. You have some this year that haven't missed a beat. The work's kept going, they've worked from home, and because of the pandemic, they're actually able to save a lot more because you just can't spend it anywhere unless you're doing a lot of home renos. Like that's happening. Now, others definitely have been hit, like their cash flow's down, but on the whole, the industry is seeing a decent amount go into RSPs. And as far as wanting to invest, you've also got a mix of people. You have some that are saying, hey, you know what, we're going to get back, the economy's going to come back, I want to invest, this looks like a great time. Others are a bit more cautious, holding on to cash, but even they're putting in some into more conservative RSP investments. So it's affected the economy and the markets, no doubt. The stock market itself was down considerably.
Yeah, I get some positive vibe here. Yeah, so that's good. That's a good news that it hasn't have much impact on RRSP contribution and stuff. Now, you are talking about the soaring stock market. Now, how do you see the economy right now, and what impact actually is out of the retirement question? What impact this COVID-19, from your perspective, COVID-19 on our economy?
Well, it's really hard to say how the COVID impact is going to impact, because if we try to predict, if we look at where we were a year ago, just the stock market, it was down at one point, the main North American markets, about 35% last March. Not only have they recovered, they actually hit a few new highs based on the end of last year and the beginning of this year. And a lot of people have found that, hey, the market is ahead of the economy. However, the market is often sort of a futuristic indicator. It's right now seems to be seeing past COVID. Interest rates are very low, and also there's been a lot of stimulus package. Governments around the world are looking to help the economy. That being said, the market is always very unpredictable. We won't go on record in saying where we think the market is going to go in the short term. What the individual investors should do, though, is they should do a real assessment of their portfolio and base it on their plan. We often say try to avoid the noise. The noise is what you hear when you turn on the TV, all the headline news. But what we really want to do is help people get effective results and get the realization of their plans.
Yeah, we heard a lot of noise in the stock market, and the stock market is soaring right now. So, should I invest my retirement money, RRSP, into the stock market?
Well, I don't know if I'd say it's soaring right now. It's from the low point, it's up considerably. The markets can change quite a bit. So you have to base it on your comfort zone. I know people that are very aggressive. One question we ask a lot of people is, how much of a drop could you tolerate? If the person says 0, you shouldn't be in the stock market. If the person says, well, I'm young enough, I can take a 50% drop, then I'd like to say equity investments in the right managed money as opposed to the stock market, because there's so many investments in the stock market. What the group I work for believes is that the best products, or the best, most suitable products, are usually some sort of managed solution, and it's again based on your plan.
So you mentioned risk tolerance and managed portfolio, and it is all about investment. So Tyler, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. It was very informative, and I have to admit that your experience and knowledge that will help our viewers a lot. Me personally, I had few questions and confusion about retirement and RRSP. After talking to you, I got things pretty much clear. So, would you like to say something for our viewers?
Well, what I suggest that individuals do is reevaluate their financial plan. If you don't have a financial plan, the first step is to create one for yourself. If you have one, please go back, look at it, look for areas that you could potentially improve. Find someone you trust that can help you, whether it be a professional, a friend, a family member, someone that can critically analyze it and make suggestions to help you take the next step, because financial planning is really important. We all get busy day to day, and it's really important that you look at what you need to do to take your financial plan to the next level.
Viewers, as you have seen, Tyler Atkinson, he's from IG Wealth Management with a good amount of knowledge in the industry and the product. If you have any question about your retirement plan, RRSP contribution limit, you always can call Tyler Atkinson to get best investment advice, RRSP advice. So Tyler, thank you so much. Thank you for coming in our studio. We are really grateful, and we really enjoyed your company. You provide us a wonderful information about the retirement plan all those things associated with RRSP. We really thank you, and on the behalf of Nandan TV and behalf of Middel Man, I really appreciate and thank you so much. Thank you.